In one forum I'm part of online, there's recently been a lot of tension between the heterosexual women and lesbian women because some of the lesbian women were discussing to what extent heterosexuality can dull a woman's feminist impulse. Some of the heterosexual women got upset that their sexuality was being discussed because what could lesbians possibly know about any of this? But we actually know a lot. All women experience indoctrination into heterosexuality, whether they actually end up being heterosexual or not. The messages women get about our function, place, and role in the world are pretty universal when it comes to servicing men, having babies, centering our lives and identity around males. This is what women exist for, essentially. So it comes as no surprise that lesbians would know a thing or two about heterosexuality and heterosexual relationships, but it's continually expected that they do not. I mean, nearly every lesbian I know personally has had sex with men at some point or dated men, so it's not really that odd that we would know about it. Much of this mythology around the nature of lesbians exists directly to separate women from one another. If we view each other with suspicion and difference, it's less likely that we will connect. And when women connect, things happen to patriarchy. Even though the differences between the lives of lesbians and the lives of heterosexual women are not so stark, a lot of the mythology that is perpetuated by the quote-unquote born this way, gay ink stereotype that asserts that if one is a lesbian or if one is gay, they were born that way, and that's all there is to it. In reality, most lesbians have had sex with and relationships with men at some point in their lives, and the born this way myth is not a narrative that speaks to their experiences at all. Many women do not realize until they fall in love with another woman that such feelings are possible. Many women do not realize that they are lesbians until they meet lesbians and see that it is what they want. There is no one narrative, and many women feel that their lesbianism is a choice that they've made. The whole born this way thing has always been kind of suspicious to me because I have an aunt who is a lesbian, and she was married with children when she met and fell in love with another woman. She hadn't really harbored any feelings like that before that she was aware of. This woman awoke them in her. She wasn't struggling with being in the closet for years and living a lie. She just wasn't aware that she could feel that way. Many progressive heterosexual people who support gay rights, quote-unquote gay rights, buy into the born this way mythology as well, which is unfortunate because when it comes to conversations between women, heterosexual women forget that most everything they experience, lesbians experience as well. Harassment, rape, male violence, dislike of one's body, poverty, discrimination, low self-esteem, internalized misogyny. One's life expectations as a woman are the same if a woman is heterosexual or lesbian. Lesbians do not get out of these things just because they happen to like other women. I remember reading in Jessica Valenti's book, Full Frontal Feminism, a passage remarking that whilst heterosexual young women would be chastised for promiscuity, lesbian young women faced no such disdain for the same behavior, which I thought was a perfect example of how heterosexual women think of themselves and their oppression in relation to ours. They're indoctrinated with this idea that we are so different, and thus we just don't experience the kind of misogyny they do. And I also found it kind of funny because I remember dating other girls as a teenager, and just the whole idea of it ever being promiscuous is so funny with all the shy awkwardness going on. So we're also indoctrinated with this belief, that we are different, which is why so many lesbians will pander to heterosexual women's myths about lesbians, because they really have the same kind of beliefs of themselves as being different and other and special in some way, but really not. So with these thoughts of myself, I'm going to leave you today with a link in the low bar to Adrienne Rich's essay, Compulsory Heterosexuality and Lesbian Existence, for your further thought and edification.